Welcome to ISSS Masterclass series. So this was planned as part of the international conference that ISSS has every 3 years. That was to be held in 2020 July. I don't have to explain why we could not do it in 2020 July, but then 2020 went past us, and then 2021 we are in almost close to July of 2021. We thought that international conference is not it's not feasible to hold it anytime soon, but then we thought the masterclass lectures that were to be held as part of the conference, at least they can be held online. And we wanted to have topics that are something that are not familiar to most of the ISSS members, and yet they are very important to us. And Dr. Upadhyaya, who steered this, we chose four topics and three are already scheduled. And Dr. Upadhyaya is actually the chair of the international conference that was to be held. So he's still pursuing that with all of us. So I request Dr. Upadhyaya to give an introduction to Master Series lectures, and then Prasunil will take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Anand Suresh, for the kind introduction. Good morning to everybody, all the participants, the distinguished speakers, and members of ISSS Organizing Committee. Welcome to this introductory first masterclass lecture. As mentioned by Dr. Suresh, these master classes used to be a part of the international conference that was being held by ISSS every 2 years. We used to have it either before, prior to the conference, or the after the conference. But as mentioned by him, for obvious reasons, we couldn't hold the international conference last year. But we felt that we should at least go ahead with the master classes. These international conference was supposed to be held in collaboration with ISSS and PES University in Bangalore and CMTI and IISc, of course. So that I'm sure we will hold it sometimes as the things brighten up a little more, maybe end of this year or early next year. But this master classes definitely, because it's something that everybody looks forward to, because these are master classes are educative. You talk about a new subject, what is going on in that, how it used to be used in in the industry, or in R&D or academia. So these are sort of educative, and I think particularly the young students, research students, young faculty in R&D industry, etc., they would really look forward to these master classes, and that's the whole idea of organizing this. And we have, as mentioned by Dr. Suresh, three master classes organized. One is today, other one is on today is by Dr. Prakash Vinod on smart manufacturing and related subjects. He's from CMTI, the institute that is very well known for smart manufacturing and smart structures. And then we will have on 21st a lecture on smart grid technology from senior scientist from CPRI. And then on 24th, we'll have on the optoelectronics from the distinguished professor from Australia. So I'm sure all of you would be looking forward to these master classes, and we hope to organize one more later, maybe in July or August, on electric vehicles. That's something that many people wanted, and we are looking forward to some very expert on in the subject from abroad, who I am told that will be visiting India, or will be participating in some programs in India. So maybe we'll request him to conduct that. We will wait and see for that. So I'm really very happy that we have at last got going. And the first masterclass is that today I don't want to stand between you and the speaker, Dr. Prakash Vinod. So we will get going. I will request Dr. Sunil to introduce the speaker and start the classes. Thank you very much. Wish you all the very best.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for your initial remarks. So, it's my honor to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Prakash. Dr. Prakash Vinod is a mechanical engineer and is presently heading the technology development activities on smart manufacturing precision machine tools and aggregates at Center Manufacturing Technology Institute, CMTI, Bengaluru. He has undergone training at Fraunhofer Institute of Production Technology, Essen, Germany, in development of ultra precision machines, and at Oklahoma State University, USA, in intelligent machining. He has 31 years of experience in research, design, and development of high-precision machine tools and its aggregates, smart manufacturing, special-purpose machines, micro and nano fabrication and characterization systems. He has completed prototype development of about 25 new machines and products. He has provided over 300 consultancy services to industries in machine tool testing, dynamic and thermal behavior, noise, vibration, and condition monitoring of machines, and nanomaterial characterization. For his significant contribution, he has published over 35 publications in international and national journals. He has filed 5 patents, and he has received FIA Foundation Awards in the year 2013 and 2019 as principal investigator for the innovative product developments as intelligent ultra precision turning machine and ultra precision diamond turning machine. So with this brief introduction, I once again welcome Dr. Prakash Vinod on behalf of IEEE, and the floor is yours, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor
Dr.
Sunil.
Prakash Vinod, just one
Yes.
minute.
Yes, sir.
I would like to say thanks to Director CMTI for agreeing to our request that we would like CMTI to conduct this particular workshop on smart manufacturing, and deputing their the most distinguished specialist, Dr. Vinod, for conducting the master classes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Upadhyay, Dr. Upadhyay, and Professor Sunil for the introduction. And good morning to all members of IEEE committees, as well as the coordinators for this masterclass series lectures. Also, good morning to all the participants who are attending this masterclass lecture. So I will be sharing my presentation and in a few seconds. Hope that screen is visible.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
So can you hide that indicator at the pop-up at the?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. So, actually, I like to thank that IEEE coordinators for giving me opportunity to talk on this subject. And the topic of my talk is smart machine tools and machining technologies. So before I get into the subject and try to give some theoretical as well as some case studies, what we have been doing at CMTI, I will just like to introduce CMTI to the audience. So CMTI is basically, at present, we are coming at the Department of Heavy Industry, Ministry of Heavy Industry and Public Enterprises. And we are working basically in technology readiness level 3 to 8. So from proof of concept to industry-ready products and deployment to industry. That's the way we have been working. We are working in advanced manufacturing technology, where the development as well as deployment, both is our mandate to do that. So if you see our history, we started with machine tool technology somewhere in 1965, and we have been working for quite long time in machine tool arena only, somewhere till late of 90s. And all associated technology which were going to build advanced machine tools in our country, we have been working on that. Later we started diversifying somewhere in the late 90s, and then we started working on ultra precision engineering and additive manufacturing, nano manufacturing, mechatronics and automation, industrial vision, sensor technology, MEMS sensor development, development of textile machines, and ultra precision machines aggregates developments, and aerospace systems development, surface engineering, and of course smart manufacturing industry 4.0. We have been working from last 3 years now. So how we are well connected with smart manufacturing, that we like to bring to your notice, that DHI, that our parent organization, that ministry where we are associated, has a scheme called Samarth Udyog Bharat 4. So this is basically part of their scheme for enhancement of competitiveness in Indian capital goods sector. So under that Samarth Udyog platform, they have set up 4 centers all over India. So CMTI at Bangalore and IISc at Bangalore, there are 2 common engineering facility centers of Samarth Udyog. And then there is a center at I4 at Pune, and another center at IIT Delhi in mechanical engineering department. And they are also supporting IIT Kharagpur to establish 1 more center. So now we are becoming 5 instead of 4. That's the way. So what all these centers are doing, actually, the centers has some common goal and some specific objectives. So if you look into CMTI, that objectives what we have been working. So we are setting up a smart factory with its digital twin for both looking into design, production, and performance of the machines and assets in domain of metal cutting, additive manufacturing, and sheet metal cutting. So that is the thing, and that by end of this year, this factory is going to get inaugurated. Also, we are our center. We have created a platform where development, testing, and validation of Industry 4.0 products and smart manufacturing solution can be envisaged. And we have been doing ourselves. We have been doing many development works. Also, along with industries, also we are doing many development work. So that I will be briefly telling you later. We are coming out with smart manufacturing solution, particularly for MSME. So because there are many solutions available in smart manufacturing industry 4.0 which are not affordable, and we have a large chunk of MSME in our country. So they are to see that customized solution which is which works for Indian MSME, we are bringing out. So that we are doing. And also we are having a platform for training and experimental learning. So I think CMT all the time we have been working on training, but particularly for executives and all. But under this scheme, we are also now trying to train students, engineering students, and also the pass out, the engineering pass outs, the freshers and all. We are trying to offer some programs for experimental learning. So this is brief about our center. So if you see our activities, that our center is called Smart Manufacturing Demonstration and Development Center as a part of Samarth Udyog. So our activities are divided into many aspects. So at our facility, we have many Industry 4.0 implementation, which are demonstratable, and which where people can see how Industry 4 solutions are going to work for Indian industry. So these implementation we have done basically by using the ready-made products, actually, which is available from Zeiss or Bosch or Maxbyte or many more, and that gives a lot of learning. And this is the first thing what we started doing. Then of course we are working on R&D, our own R&D projects for development and deployment of solutions which are affordable, low cost, and all. Also, we are working with industry collaborative projects because as per the scheme, we have to work with industry in 80-20 mode. So where the 80% contribution is from DHI and CMTI and 20% from industry. So in that we have taken some bigger projects with HAL, with Siemens, with IMTMA, with Acumec, Hexagon, and Utunga. So apart from that, many more we are envisaging work with that, and therefore very specific sort of solutions which are very useful for large amount of Indian manufacturing industry. So that's the way we are working. And we are also taking up some sponsored projects at CMTI where industry is funding, and we are doing that. And of course, our smart factory is going to be a national facility, and it is available for demo and demonstration. And also, it can work as a test bench for others. If somebody else is developing, they can also try out their solution in our smart factory. And training and awareness. So we have been conducting a lot of webinars. I think last year we conducted around 30 webinars, and more than 3,000 people have participated. And we conducted many training programs. One national conference also we have conducted, and many more we are planning with other institutes also, including ISSS and all. So now coming back to the subject, before I get into that, so what is Industry 4 and what is smart manufacturing, before I get into smart machine tools and smart machining technologies. So I think most of us, we are aware that we are in Industry 4.0 arena now, which is started from 21st century. But we should also, let's see the history how this Industry 4 came. So the first of all, that first industrial revolution, somewhere in end of 18th century, it has started, and that was basically propelled by water and steam power. So that many machines started coming by 18th century and all, and basically which is driven by steam power and all. So this is there in the history book. And later, the second industrial revolution came somewhere in end of 19th century, where that electrical machines came, electrical energy and electrical machines started coming, which are started helping into some mass production work and all. So that is almost after 100 years, that this one came. Then Industry 3 came. So Industry 3 revolution came in somewhere in Q4 of 20th century, somewhere in 1970s, 75 and all. So that during that time, the CNC machines, and PLC machines, PLC-driven machines, robots, and IT to automate production, these all started coming. But they were actually automatic, but on standalone sort of thing. So that was the basic concept. But they were doing also automatic production. Now in this arena of Industry 4.0, we are looking into all the machines connected to each other, and also driven through IoT, Internet of Things, that industrial IoT, so that informations can seamlessly flow through cloud from one place to other geographical location. And we are considering these machines and assets like a cyber physical system, instead of physical system alone. So we have physical things, and we have a cyber or digital virtual models also, and they connect to each other very well using digital twin, augmented reality, real-time intelligence, and we are able to take many decisions in real time, because this is this thing. So this Industry 4.0 is different than the Industry 3 from the aspects of IoT, as a cyber physical systems, and basically driven by AI, ML techniques and all. So that is the thing, Industry 4. So what is smart manufacturing? So smart manufacturing, actually, if you look into that, what we are looking into is manufacturing. The core of manufacturing is a factory. So within a smart factory, we have various machines and inspection systems and things which are helping us to do production. So there is a lot of that integration among them. They are all connected to each other. That's all horizontal integration, and all the assets are helping us to do productions which are more efficient and productive, and all diagnostics, everything is possible. So this is part of smart factory. But smart manufacturing is is connecting all the vertical of a organization, where the production systems are getting well connected with the design systems, well connected with the customers, well connected with the supply chain and entire things. So in this process, we are getting the maximum benefit, where all verticals, it's not only horizontal integration, also within the vertical, but across the vertical also there is an integration. So that's the way we are looking in. So with the smart manufacturing, definitely we can achieve higher productivity, more efficient operations at lower cost, and also design to product turnout time also will be very less. So that's the way we are looking, and we can face with smart manufacturing, we can face global competitions. Okay, now the arena is there in where that we have to face global competition. So so this is possible through smart manufacturing. Now coming to the subject that which I have been supposed to talk more, that is smart machine tools and machining. So let us have an overview of this. So what is smart machine? So a smart machine can be considered as an intelligent sort of device that uses machine-to-machine communication, and they are able to take autonomous decision and solve the problem without operator or human intervention. So that's the way intelligent smart machines are envisaged. Then what is machine tool? If you see, machine tool is one type of machine, right? But machine tools, I think from that point of view, how it is different than other machine, because machine tools, in that machine will drive a cutting tool, right? And in this machine, sir, we are supposed to produce some components. Okay, so there is some raw material going to the machine and some product comes out of the machine using a cutting tool driven by the machine. So from that point of view, it is slightly more complex machine. So in this machine, intelligent machine tool, what is our inputs? Basically CAD information, design information, or the process information in terms of material and setup plans. And in this, we are expecting the machine, if it is a, if it is an intelligent machine or smart machine, it can take autonomous decision and it should produce accurate components. And also it should give information regarding the what quality, what output coming out of that, what is the machine condition, how is the productivity of the machine, including that downtime and other setup times and all. So everything should come out as output, and which flows to the smart factory. That's the way we are looking into intelligent machine tool. So when we are smart machines tools and other things we are developing, we have to look into the features which makes it well connected, and in reality it achieves all the objectives of from smart manufacturing. Now coming to the machining processes, we are all knowing that what is the machining processes like turning, milling, grinding, and so on. So if you look into that, the machining processes are generally machine tools or CNC machines. They are basically a closed loop system. If you see their configuration, which I will put in next slide, they are basically closed. But this machining processes, they are basically open loop system in general. So if we are able to sense the machining processes using some sensors, and if we have some process model which is where the knowledge is embedded into that by a learning process, and then we can do process control, and that is called intelligent machining. So in that process, not only the basic machine is a closed loop, even the processes cutting, the metal cutting processes also becomes closed loop. So that is intelligent machining. So CMTI has been working in both the area, development of smart machine tool and intelligent machining from quite few years. And also what we are looking is that not only the machine is accurate, even the products which are coming out of the machines, there also should be accurate, and it should be on the process, entire the machining processes through machine should be productive, as well as also we are looking into ease of operation. Nowadays with this IoT and other things, you can also make the operation quite user friendly. Okay, so these are all targets of our technology development in this domain. So now let's see some of the features of smart machine tools which are making it unique from other normal machine tools. Including some CNC machines. So smart machine tool should adapt to changing conditions. Means suppose there is a while cutting, if chatter comes and all, it should be able to adapt, and it should either do it, correct it itself, or it should give some alarm or some notification to the operator to make some changes. So that is the way we are looking into adapting to the changing conditions. Then another feature of that is that smart machine tool invariably should have open architecture CNC. So why it is required? And also sensor interface. So why it is required? Because in smart machines, machine tools, we need to sense the processes and all machining processes. So we may require many sensors. So then there has to be interface. There are some sensing is possible through CNC control itself, but there could be also some, if you are looking into if you adjourn state of art technologies. So in modern days, that machine tool OEMs will provide you CNC machines with some outputs which are connected with maybe a power, torque, or sort of or temperature sort of thing, but may not be for the considering the processes. Means if you want to measure the cutting forces or vibrations or maybe acoustic emissions which is coming from the machining process, they may not provide. So you must have some interfaces also. So we are looking ideally with that. And open architecture CNC is making things open, the CNC in the way that we can add some module. Means we can develop some AI ML based algorithms, and which and we can convert into some programs, and which can be it can be connected to CNC. So that is called open. That open architecture CNC only will make it possible. Now, if you see, a lot of informations will be coming in the process when we make this machine tool smart. So the machine tool should have extensive information processing capability. So that way we have to look into the new smart machine tools. Then smart machine tool definitely should have compensation. That machine tool will have errors, right? So it will have errors connected with geometrical errors, also thermoelastic. Because of thermoelastic displacement, some errors will occur. So we should be able to compensate this through electronic means. So electronic compensation in real time of this machine tool positioning, geometrical errors, and thermoelastic displacement related errors should be feasible. Then, of course, when we are talking of that of any smart manufacturing system, always people talk of you should be able to know what is happening. So definitely, we should be able to do sensor-based condition monitoring and self-diagnostics. That is very compulsory in case of smart machine tools. Also, machine tools, apart from machine subsystems, it will have cutting tools, and that is very important. If cutting tool is becoming a blunt or it has more wear, it may lead into errors on the component. So cutting tool condition monitoring also should be one of the features in smart machine tools. Vibration and chatter is invariably if you see in machining processes, I think every machine tool will have some stability zone. So if we are or sometimes if your tool is blunt, then you may not get the stability zone also. You're not able to work in that. So in that case, we should be able, and at the same time we should not spoil the component, right? So we should have some sort of means and mechanism for vibration and chatter control. Then process monitoring, that which I was talking just now, I told you, intelligent machining, based on the sensor should be possible in the smart machine tool, which are invariably not found in most of the even modern days machines which are coming from the world-based OEMs. So this sensor-based process monitoring is not still not. I mean, it is fully implemented in state-of-art machines also. So that is slowly it is emerging area where a lot of people are working. So I think slowly it is going to come. Now, thing is that if you want sensor-based process monitoring and the process control, we should have some models for different machining processes, and where that that sensor is basically input to those models, and these models are already it is trained. It has knowledge, so that can help us in process control. So these are the one of the feature of state-of-art machine tools. So on machine metrology, in fact, in machine tool, we are making components, right? So the components generally, if you see, it goes, after the component is produced, it goes for inspection offline, and then sometimes if it needs to be corrected, it comes back to the machine. So nowadays, the people are looking into with the features with non-contact techniques, contact probing also. On machine metrology is possible. So in that case, we can, before the job is, and it can be compared with your, design tolerances and CAD informations. Then we can also manage the accuracies. So, and if it is, suppose there is some allowances left and that accuracy is not correct, then we can correct it. Otherwise, we may have to filter it out. So now, other than that, I think now we are looking, when we are talking of the Industry 4.0, the IIoT is one of the most important thing, which will help us to connect our machine from one place, from one geographical location to another geographical location through cloud. So that IoT, that features should be there, and also we should have possible. There should be nowadays people are talking of edge analytics instead of cloud analytics. So people are looking into some analytics which is useful for machine tool to give some real-time corrections and all at edge only, that is very close to the machines only. So those features, edge controller and edge analytics based processing and all should be possible in near the machine. So that's the way we are looking into that. Now let us see the smart machine tool, the concept, how it has come. So it is not that the smart machine tool is totally different than that normal CNC machine. So it is basically add-on. So if you look into a normal CNC machine for one particular axis, like this is one axis, maybe x-axis, and then it is driven by servo motors, and there is a servo control drives and all, and there is a CNC systems. So that is the way it is a closed loop system. So if any movement is taking place for machining, it is sensed and it is, it is feedback is given, and then if there is a correction required in positioning of the axis, that is done through the servo control. So this is servo control CNC machine tools. So that's the way we have been working. Now, if we are looking into smart machine tool, then we look into some more features in that. So let us see that what are the features we have to add in this. So instead of that, now we are looking into, not only we are looking into making the machine, movements closed loop, even the machining processes also we want to make a closed loop. So we'll have cutting processes, and in cutting processes we'll have different sensors. So the sensors like cutting force, temperature, vibration and all, they are getting sensed. And also we can have some sensors directly mounted on machines also, which can be used for diagnostics. And if it is taken from the cutting, also if it is we are sensing the processes using force, cutting force and temperatures and all, we can do process control. We can have some models which can which is basically trained and which can work in real time based on the knowledge what it has, and it can help us to give some correction to the basic CNC machine. So that is the way it looks into that. And also we can look into component also measurements and all that, quality of the components after the process is over. We can, on the machine itself, we can check the quality, and we can take that input also, and then we can put into, and again if any corrections are required, we can look into that. So it is basically add-on of some more loops, closed loops into the basic CNC loop. So that is the way we can achieve the smart machine tool. Now coming to CMTI, I will just start with one case study, and then we'll discuss that what are things we have been doing. So CMTI has developed a smart ultra precision machine tool we call intelligent ultra precision turning machine way back in 2013. So in this, if you see, basically this machine tool is basically itself is a very high precision machine meant for basically diamond turning of and producing some optical quality surfaces on metals. So that is there. But same time, we also developed many technologies which makes the machine tool smart. So that let us see what are things there. So the machine, the first one is that this machine error. So I was mentioning that machine will have error inherent errors connected with positioning of various axes, geometrical like straightness, pitch, yaw, and roll sort of errors it will have, which makes machine inaccurate. And also machine will have some thermoelastic displacement errors which occurs because of temperature changes, because machines are made from steel. I think mainly steel alloys are used mainly. So invariably it has comparatively higher coefficient of thermal expansion. So it will lead into some thermoelastic errors. So we have developed few modules in this for correcting all positioning error, geometrical errors, and thermoelastic errors in real time, taking feedback from the sensors mounted on the machines, and they are all driven by AI/ML modules and all. So this we have done. Then second part is that machine diagnostics. So that is one of the basic part of any smart machines and all. So should be able to do self diagnostics and all. So we have developed some module which can do health monitoring based on vibration and temperature and all. And also we can do on machine itself some dynamic balancing if it is required, then we can do that. And also cutting tool condition monitoring also we can do. And as we have many sensor mounted on the machine, if any sensor is not working, then also that we can find out whether the sensor itself is faulty. So that's where we have some of the things we have done. And it is basically based on open architecture motion control, and we can do, of course, it is IoT enabled, and we can do remote. We can send all the information. We can monitor it through cloud, okay, and cloud-based dashboard. We can do that. So also then process part, we have done some few works, because that a lot of works needs to be done in this area to make the process intelligent. So the first thing what we did, we have developed a module. Again, it is AI/ML based technique for surface error predictions for intelligent machining. So these all I will be discussing in coming slides. So now, if you look into feature-wise, so we had a ultra precision machine, a turning machine, which itself, I think, if you see some of the features, you will find very unique, which is not found in other machine. Like it's a type of drives, like linear motor driven, this thing, spindles, aerostatic spindles, and the machine structure is made of granite and all. Of course, that slides and other things are made of metal, but this machine is isolated, like that. Many sensors are mounted on the machines. And job holding, are basically through vacuum and all. And the coolant system also unique. It is mist coolant and all. So like many features are there in that machine, which are making it is high precision machines and all. But apart from that, let us look into the intelligence part. So we have, I think, as I mentioned, that real-time machine error corrections, we can do it, and real-time diagnostics we can do. Some prognosis part using intelligent machining and all, and even some prognosis part in the in tool, particularly tool life, we have done. And of course, the machine has some features for active vibration control and adaptive control. So this is the thing. And then I will just quickly go through that how we have done these works and all. So the first part is that the positioning error or geometrical error compensation of this on this machine. So what we have actually, if you look into that, machines, these positioning errors will occur in your linear axis basically. So suppose this machine, I think this is a hard turning machine, and the next one is our diamond turning machine. So these are all invariably it will have two axes, X and Z, and then sometimes in the spindle will also be C axis. So that we'll have to look into the errors of all these axes. So let us look into the error of a linear axis, where we can correct this positioning error. So then what we have different feed rate and different positions. So the machine, this axis can position a different place at different feed rate. So these are the basically inputs, right? So these inputs, if we are able to give it into some AI/ML based compensation module, which we have developed at this thing, then this thing, and if we are able to train them properly with the errors, which is when it is moving forward or reverse, then later when we implement this in machine, then it can predict. It can start predicting based on the position and feed rate. It can start predicting the errors, and that can be corrected, using a C program, which can be integrated into motion controller. So that is the way we are looking into that. So we have done successfully, and we have achieved some results. So which I will be sharing with you in the next slide. So let us see. So this is geometrical error corrections of one of the axis of this machine. So using real time, using basically NN based sort of algorithm and all. So this NN is one of the neural network is one of the artificial intelligence and this thing algorithm which we can achieve some you can use for industrial applications. So let us see. So let us see the error, linear error, that is the positioning error. So if you see the blue one, actually it was before correction. So it was a few. Of course, it is ultra precision machine. So it was around 4 to 4.5 micrometers for that stroke of around 200. Now, if you see after this implementation and development of NN-based neural network-based algorithm and implementing it, that we are able to achieve almost in terms of less than 100 nanometer, less than 0.1 micrometer error we are able to achieve in position. So this is a real time in this scenario, and it is after validation. So like that. So like that, machine will have geometrical errors like pitch, yaw, and roll. Pitch, yaw, and roll, and also it will have these are angular error, pitch and yaw and roll. And apart from that, it will have straightness error in vertical and horizontal direction. So everywhere the blue one is before correction, and the red one is after correction. So if you quickly look into that, not only the linear error, apart from the angular error like pitch, yaw, and roll, and also straightness error in horizontal and vertical direction, we are able to bring down, with the implementation of these algorithms in real time, we are able to bring down within some nanometers level. So hundreds of nanometers level we are able to bring down. So that is one of the achievements what we have done in that our machine. Now let us look into thermoelastic errors. So actually, if you look into thermoelastic error, is a basic is a big problem for most of the machine tool OEMs, and particularly in the country like India, where the temperature changes, from winter to summer, and place to place. It goes from sometimes 0 to 44, 45 degrees centigrade. So this large variation, you can expect that machine will give you inaccurate parts during in different season and during different conditions and different places. Same machine. So, so how to we can definitely correct, and this is one of the technique which is very useful in real time. Electronic by using electronic means, and we can correct and using again artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques, we can develop algorithm, and in real time based on the temperature of the machine at few places, not at all places, few places, we can correct the error which is occurring between tool and job, and we can get the results. So I think if you look into that, this flow chart and all, so we need to, what we need to do is that we have to do a lot of experimental work initially to identify which are the correct locations. We have to do temperature mapping, and also we have to, with temperature, we have to do mapping of the thermoelastic displacement during experimental work. And we have to find out which are the locations and which are the temperature which are sensitive to the thermoelastic displacement. So once we are able to find out the temperature locations and all, machine locations where the temperatures changes are occurring and which are resulting into the error between tool and job in terms of thermoelastic displacement, then we can train for further data. We can do different condition, we can do, and then find out with this we can train artificial, basically neural network here where we have used. There are different type of techniques. There are it is a simple back propagation neural network here, but in reality we have gone much ahead, and some complex sort of this artificial intelligence techniques we have developed at CMTI for giving the correct solution. So now let's see. So basically what we are doing is that in real time, few sensors are mounted on the machine, and while working they will sense temperature, and it will go to the already that module, which is thermal compensation module, which is based on already trained module, and which can compute in real time the errors, and that errors can be corrected through program through CNC and fed to CNC control, and corrects that. So that is the way. So now if you see the results, so if we look into one shift of operation, almost 8 hours and all, the error was changing in one machine at 50 micrometer. 50 micrometer is quite a big value for precision machines and all. So with this implementation of this technique in real time, we are able to achieve almost 3 micrometer and all the errors and all. So, and also we have not only, we validated this also, so we implemented this into our machine, one of the machine. And what was happening, let us see the one component that where the radius, we are machining some spherical cup sort of thing, and on continuous basis. So the radius tolerance was only 1 micrometer. Okay, so 3.288 is basic dimension, and tolerance is 1 micrometer only. And form error of this, this spherical shape was 1.2 micrometer. So what used to happen? The radius was changing. After 5-6 component, it was going out of tolerance before implementation of this technique, thermal error compensation. So once we implemented, then we keep on as it as the thermal errors are coming up beyond some threshold value, then correction will take place, and it is maintaining that. So after 46 component also you can get this the same band actually. So this that is a validation, and this real-time experimental work after implementation. So the next one is that I think monitoring of machine and diagnostics. So that is very important in smart machine tools and all. So machine tool will have elements like spindles, slides, and all. This needs to be monitored in real time. Okay. The conditions and all. So how we can monitor? The best way is that you can monitor using a vibration sensor. So if you have a vibration sensor, then you can find out what is the real-time vibration. Of course, you should have also some reference levels. So you can compare these vibration levels, with the reference level, and if the values are going beyond certain level, then we can have some alarms or to the operator, and also if it is further, if we can work on that, and we can predict the life also of the machine element. So the prognosis is also possible, not only diagnostics. So there's a way we are looking. So we have developed some modules where what we have done for the machine tools, for each of the measurement point on the machine, we have a reference level. When machine was good, we have reference level. Means reference, it could be a single value parameters like overall vibration level, or it could be a vibration spectrum itself in the particular band. So those are reference things are there with us, and at real time we have these vibration sensors are mounted. So with that we are able to get some information of this thing in terms of real single value parameters like overall values or crest factor or peak level. These type of things we are able to get, and which we are comparing with the reference values, and we are able to tell whether it is good or bad. So that is there. And fortunately for this thing, we have some standards also. So international standards are there, which is telling when it is good and when it is bad. So that's why we are doing that. Also, we can compare the entire spectrum itself, like vibration spectrum in the band, we can compare. And with that also, we can do diagnostics. So that is the way we have done some work and we implemented. And later, these informations can be further looked into using, again, that machine learning techniques and AI ML. We can do prognosis or we can health assessment, life assessment, we can do. So that's the thing we have done at CMTI. Now coming to this was regarding some very smart state-of-art machine which is developed by OEMs including CMTI. But what about machines which are already there? So I think this is one of the tasks given to the Samarth Udyog centers. So we have plenty of machines with industry 2 generation and industry 3 generations. So how to make them smart? They are so that also CMTI has done a lot of work in that. So what we have done, so let us see one machine. It is a 5-axis VMC. It is 1970s. It is somewhere 75 or early 80s. This machine was procured at CMTI. So and it doesn't have any if you the controller and all very old CNC, so you cannot tap the data information anything from this thing from the controller, and it is doing is a closed loop operation, but fine, but nothing you can see from you cannot take any information from out of that. So then what to do? So in that what we have done, we have incorporated, we have some external sensors like temperature, vibration, pressure, energy and all. This thing we have put, and we are also for quality inspection, we have put a vision-based inspection system. So with that, we are able to, and we have developed some analytics, edge-based analytics and cloud-based analytics, and we created a dashboard, cloud-based dashboard. There we can monitor the thermal behavior, we can monitor the spindle health and axis health, that is machine health we can monitor, temperatures we can monitor, energy we can monitor. That energy monitoring is also very important, because with energy monitoring, nowadays people are able to, it is not useful for productivity, also it gives you a lot of information and regarding process also. So that way we are able to, and with the vision based external vision camera based, I think we have a group working on the camera based vision system. So we associated with them, and they come out with a methodology by which the components are inspected on the machine itself. So there's a way we have done some work actually at CMTI. So converting legacy CNC machine into smart machine. So also we looked into that not only metal cutting, even additive manufacturing. So a lot of machines are there, additive machines are there. So which are again, some sort of legacy we can call. So that because it is not IoT enabled, and so how to make it IoT enabled? So that we have done some work in that also area. So we have created some app and all. Using app, we can through cloud, we can upload our program G codes and all for process for manufacturing, for additive manufacturing. We can do that, and also we can monitor the machine through cloud. So that's all there's a possibility. We have done this all. So we have added some sensors also, and we can monitor the process through through vision systems also. So that is the way we have done. And apart from monitoring the process parameters like temperature and all for additive processes, so like that, some dashboard we can see. That dashboard is there for the 3D printer. It's a FDM printer basically. So it is it is like a technology demonstrator. We have done that. So we are able to maintain monitor temperature, humidity inside the chamber, and that some temperatures at different places and all. So that this thing we are able to do that. So now coming back to this, what is the role of this smart machine in a smart factory and Industry 4.0? So let us see. So when we are looking into smart factory, there is a networking of people, and as I told you, the machine and resources, all cyber physical, this thing all fine. But the core of this smart factory is the machine. So now when we are talking of a machine, so we have to look into a physical machine, we have to look into virtual machine, we have to see the machine is IoT enabled, it should be able to, it should give information about what is happening on the machine, and also why it is happening on the machine, and also it should be able to tell us that do some adaptive control and all, and prognosis. So this is the core of the machine tool, or the this thing is the core of the many smart factory, which is based on metal cutting. So this is about that. So this is the first this thing, I think, sir. I think it is regarding the smart machine tool. So now later I wanted to talk on the intelligent machining. So if anybody has any questions, I can take a break and I can answer the questions. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Prakash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think if anybody has any questions, I can take up on the machine tool, smart machine tool,
yes, sir.
or Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing, and then I can proceed towards the machining. Yeah, intelligent machining.
Sir, there is one question from Dr. Ramchandra Krishnaswamy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How is the online balancing carried out while a machine process is in progress?
Yeah. So actually, sir, I think So I think I have not given you much detail. Actually, what we have developed, it is not that machining. When machining is happening, the balancing is done. It is before machining, that we using the module. Means once like if you take a machine tool, so you will have some fixtures. We will have spindle and some fixtures, right, sir? Or some job also you can mount on that. So before you start the machining process, we can check the unbalance machine. That's using the module on the machine, we can check the unbalance and we can correct it before the cutting. Yes, sir. Hope that it is this thing. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
It is just before the machining. So this dynamic unbalance will occur in the spindle basically because of fixturing or the fixture or jobs. So that before cutting, we can check that level, and if it is okay, then cutting will start. Otherwise, it will prompt us to correct it, and we can correct it on machine only. So we need not have to call anybody. The operator can do it. That is the way this module is there.
Yeah. Dr. Ramachandra, sir, would you like to have any query? Yeah, you can unmute yourself and you can speak. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ramachandra, sir. Yeah, I think.
Hello, Dr. Anand. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Actually, I was muted. Now, I must thank Dr. Vinod. I mistook that balancing was going to be done while the machining process is on. If there is an unbalance induced and it results in vibration or some such thing, I thought it would automatically correct, but I'm mistaken. So thanks for the clarification, Dr. Vinod.
Yeah. Okay. Is any? I hope that because there are some issues when there is a cutting process is going on, that balancing it will not. It will not. You may not be able to. If you look into the balancing theory,
Yes.
how it is done, then it is very difficult when you want.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Professor Anand Suresh has a question.
Yeah.
Sir, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Dr. Prakash, I think it was a very lucid presentation. Thank you. So, you started from the very basics about defining Industry 4.0.
Yes,
That was very nice. So, I have a question. See, when you look at Industry 1.1, 2.0, there was a
Yes, sir.
very clear demarcation. 1.0
sir.
you said was steam power. Second is the 2.0
Electrical,
was
yes.
electric power. So,
Yeah.
can such a clear, crisp distinction can be made between 3.0 and 4.0? Okay, that is first question.
Yeah, so yes, definitely, sir. So the clear distinction is that in 3.0, that machines are basically autonomous, but and automatic, but they are standalone. Standalone in sense means they are not connected to each other. Need not be connected to each other, maybe, but need not be connected to each other. Means in the 3 also a robot can, in the Industry 3 also a robot was assisting a CNC machine. Right, sir? But if you look into Industry 4, that all the asset, the robots, the machine tool, inspection systems, CAD, CAM, they are all connected, sir. Well connected. That is point number. But that itself is not making it unique. What it makes it unique is that these all informations are available on cloud, invariably. Means these machines, if if one machine is at Bangalore and other machine is at Chennai from the same company, same type, then the information can be seen, and it can flow from one place to other place. That is that IoT. That is second thing. Then third thing is that that makes it unique is that cyber physical systems are virtual. So now in this we are talking of virtual reality, augmented reality, digital twins and all. And also AI ML. So these 3-4 points are making this Industry 4.0 unique. I mean, slightly different than Industry 3.
Okay. Yeah, that is clear. You explained it very well, but I was looking for something that can be explained to somebody, who is not too technically oriented. In fact,
sir.
Industry 1.0, 2.0, when steam power was there, industries machines have to be located close to the steam source, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct.
When the electric power came, they became distributed. You can have in different places because electrical power can be transmitted. So that was a big change. In a similar way, I think that change probably will be coming, but right now, I see between 3.0 and 4.0, even though we can explain in detail, what the differences are, I think probably we need some more time for seeing this very clearly.
Yes, sir.
So to specifically ask a question, if you go to your slide number 10,
okay,
where you had, had a flow chart, right?
Sorry,
slide number 10, if I noted it correctly.
Yeah, I will come back to that. That's yeah.
Yeah.
I think
so here, now slide number 10, if you were to make it 3.0 type system, what connectivities will be disappearing from here? This is now 4.0.
Yeah.
So now,
sir,
3.0, which ones will go away?
Yeah. So this will go, sir. That cutting process and then process. This will go. Measurement portion will go. This will be remaining, sir. This servo control and CNC, is level 1. Level 1 will still remaining, sir. So
Okay.
That is the thing, yeah. This is
So
there.
cutting
This is part
process
of
will be disappearing. Cutting process model will disappear, or what will be disappearing?
Yes, sir. Entire cutting process monitoring, including model, will disappear, sir. And also the measurement on machine methodology also will disappear, sir.
Okay, those are, and database.
Database also, I think it is disappearing, sir. I think most of the CNC machine that generation 3 will not have any big database and all, and no supervisory model. So there is nothing like that. So it is basically a CNC, closed loop CNC, where it is, it can correct the positions, axis positions and all automatically.
Okay.
That's the way it works, sir.
Okay, is it fair to say that cutting process modeling was not done until 4.0 came in? That is 21st century is what everybody says. But cutting process was being monitored, post-process measurements were being
right. So coming just to clarify, sir, actually, although we wrote cutting processes, but level 2, we are not monitoring only cutting processes, but also we are monitoring the machine, parameters like vibrations and temperatures and all. So that is not shown very clearly here. But basically, this is the level 2, we are monitoring cutting process as well. Also machine also we are monitoring, sir, like on machine monitoring. So both are going, sir. So in case of industry 3, that monitoring of not only process as well as machine diagnostics and all, it is going, sir.
Okay. Again, I think some of these were done. So that's why I'm saying that between 3.0 and 4.0,
yes, sir,
the distinction is, these
yeah,
lot of
gradual, sir.
elaboration
It is a gradual, yes, sir,
obvious.
yes, sir. Yeah, right. So that's, you are very much right, because that if you look into that 3 and 4, so in 4, 3 is going to be there by default. So it is a gradual, means it is not like the difference what you are seeing from the 1 and 2, because steam and electrical, and also from electrical to electronics. So big difference, sir. But here it is electronics to software.
Electronic software. I think that's a very crisp way of saying. Yeah.
Yeah, softwares are more.
All electronics.
Yes,
now 4.0 takes software.
True, sir. True, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Any questions?
No, sir. No one has kept it in the chat box. Yeah.
Then I will come to the second part that I think it is much more of futuristic. Just now I was talking to Professor Anand Suresh. So regarding this intelligent machining. So these, if you look into the first part, that smart machine tools and all. So the first part where the diagnostics and all, also that to some extent, that cloud-based techniques and some analytics and all possible. What is happening on machine and all, we are able to see, basically on machine elements, very well. In that is happening, and nowadays machines are coming, Industry 4.0 compliant machines. If you buy any OEMs from even in India also, people are coming out with those machines where you can do see what is happening in the machine. Definitely in the machine, machine elements. But if you look into the process, what is happening in the cutting processes and all, that is still it is not fully implemented at the industry. So it is quite interesting from academic point of view, and a lot of works are happening in academia. So I'm just putting some thing what in CMT has done. More works are being is happening in academia. So now let us see what is intelligent machining. So if you see the way machine tool is a closed loop system, if you basic machine tool, if you see the functions and all, if you make the metal cutting also a closed loop process, you are going towards intelligent machining. So what is happening in that? This thing, intelligent machining, we have sensors which are sensing the machining processes. Like it could be turning, or it could be grinding, or it could be milling. So that way we are sensing, and this we are these sensors. They are feeding information to some models, process model, which are meant for optimizations and also some predictions and all, so that it can do it. So these process models are basically invariably, if you look, is based on machine learning and artificial intelligence techniques. And there only people are finding out a suitable model to look into the machining processes, which are basically stochastic, and and a lot of randomness is there. So a lot of work is happening to make this process model robust. Then only it can predict, and it can and it can optimize the cutting processes. So this is it. So if we are able to achieve, if we are able to make this a closed loop system where this in real time, when a machine tool is given, and without operator intervention, with the sensor mounted on that, if it is able to correct the cutting processes and all, and able to give an accurate component, then it is called intelligent machining. So let us see. It is a big challenge for metal cutting R&D guys. So now, why actually it is so difficult, and why intelligent machining is required? Both we will see. So machining processes, I think as on date, as you were mentioning, it is open loop, as well also stochastic. So sometimes suddenly there will be some chipping of the tool and all sort of thing. So that makes it there. Tool wear and all. If you look into you will find that they are basically non-stationary. You cannot. It's not really stationary phenomena. And there are many things which are resulting into affecting the machining processes. So it is not only tool, it is job. The job hardness, uniformity in the in the this thing hardness or the composition of the material, also tool, and also machine itself, machine vibration, the spindle vibration, axis vibration, many things, and even coolant, lubrication. So many things are there which are making finally the product. So a lot of things are there, and that's why it is much more challenging. So that's way. And secondly, why it is also required is that it is definitely required because we have very high, machine tools are very expensive, and nowadays if you see in this arena already in the industry 3.0 itself, it was automatic. Now with IoT and all, it is much more smart factory, and people are talking of even inspections and all this part of auto, like this integrated inspection on machine metrology and all sort of things. Very less human intervention. People are talking without man also operation of factories and all smart factories. So this is all then in that case it is very important. Otherwise even though if you are monitoring the basic machine, and if you are not monitoring the process, the component will go out of the tolerance and all. So that's it. So some of the issues which we have looked into when we are talking of intelligent machining, it could be any type of metal cutting, the wear of tool or grinding wheel and all, fracturing of tool, all this thing, and there's some plastic deformation occurring in the tool itself, temperatures which are occurring at between tool and the job interfaces, vibrations which are occurring, chatters which are occurring, chip formation mechanisms, and also thermal issues which are also affecting the machining process. And finally, we have to look into that definitely we should, the aim of all this thing, that intelligent machining, to optimize the machining processes. Also, we should be able to predict prognosis of the process. That is the aim. So now let us look into the basic things. I know I am not going to talk much in this area, but just some few basic things. This thing is regarding that what are sensors we can use it for intelligent machining. So now if you see that cutting force is the most common, that this thing which is used in metal cutting to sense the process. So if you look into turning, milling, grinding and all, so if you see that the blue one is a milling and there's a turning. So turning and milling are two processes where the demand is very high, and the cutting force is measurements will help these two processes. When it comes to grinding, I think you can use grinding for this thing, that cutting force, but also you can use acoustic emission. I think that is quite that a lot of solutions are possible with acoustic emission and vibration. So that way also possible. So there are other sensing elements or say basic sensors like force sensing, vibration sensing, acoustic emission sensing, and with sometimes some of the processes you can monitor using vision-based systems also. So that we have to on some displacement measurements. Sometimes current, voltage, and power also. Nowadays, in what you have seen, that a lot of solutions are coming in the using monitoring of power. Means energy monitoring. I think invariably we have to do part of in any industry 4.0 solutions because that will give you what is the power consumption. You can optimize the power. Power is very costly. So invariably people do that energy monitoring. So now people are coming out with some modules for process monitoring or process optimization based on basically monitoring of energy or basically torque or power which is drawn from the machine. So that a lot of people, I think, they're trying to come, because invariably you are going to have this this power monitoring, energy monitoring in the built into the modern day CNC's machine tools. So why not to use this itself and try to do something on the process? So that is also going on. Apart from that, strain measurements and all, it is possible. Yeah. So now let us see that what are the type of basic errors, some few errors, and which sensing will help us. So if you look into tool wear monitoring and all, the modules which are people will develop. So majority of things are coming with cutting force, and also some of them are coming with vibration and acoustic emission, quite good amount of to this thing, and some vision based. Directly they can measure the wear, tool wear. So that some solutions are there where people are working, or they have come out with some prototyping, they have done it. So now when it comes to chatter, so I think where chatter is easily detected with vibration. So vibration and cutting force, they are the two important parameters by which we can look into the chatter. When it comes to the tool breakage, the tool some chipping off or something, definitely as we know all that if a tool has some chipping off or some breakage and all, then cutting force will suddenly change very drastically. So cutting force based models are much more popular and all. When it comes to some high end process, sort of like built edge formation or some chip formation and all, then cutting force and acoustic emission, these two sensing are found to be much more useful than other methods. So of course, everywhere power you can see, I think it's slightly older, some few years back, I think. But nowadays, people are trying, even though it is not, they are not finding a foolproof solution, but they are trying to give solutions which are based on power for all these issues. Okay. Now, coming to development of, for this thing, module for intelligent machining. So invariably, I think I've tried to make it very simple, but for people to this thing understand, but it is really difficult for if you want to achieve good results. So let us see how we are going about intelligent machining, how to make, we are making it a closed loop system and this thing. So basically, as usual, we have to monitor the process using the sensor. So once we are monitoring using sensor, like if you are using vibration sensor, for example, or like this thing, then some data will come. Okay, so data will come. No, so the data, raw data itself, we cannot take it. The reason is that now we are trying to monitor the vibration from the cutting processes, but the vibration can come from the machine itself. There could be bearing problem or some other issues. So that so then it always a problem, or it could be from environmental vibration also can come. So we must have to do some filtering. Okay. So that we should know very well filtering techniques and all. We have to apply this thing. Then the information what comes after filtering, from there we have to extract the features. Like that basic raw information is quite going to be very huge. So we cannot manage that for proper learning. So we have to find out that what are the features which can be used, and from this entire raw signals and all, and that we use it to some sort of ML based AI based modules we have to develop, and then that we have to do training using this that information whatever is extracted through feature extraction and from the data. Then some learning we have to do. Then we have to build the knowledge. We have to build the knowledge to identify the tool wear or for surface quality, work with surface quality. So like that we have to build the knowledge. Once the knowledge is built and all, then in that case, then we can we can integrate this with our CNC. This thing we can do some programming, high level programming, and can implement. But most of things people are using MATLAB and all, so it is easy possible to implement actually in the CNC this thing control systems. We can do that. So finally, once it is integrated, then it can help us to do few things. It can help us to either change that cutting conditions, or it can give, at least it can give us some information regarding process prognosis, some alarms, some dashboards we can do where we can know the wear, we can know surface quality, we can at least we can see, visualize, and later we can use it for, once we are very sure that if things are working well, then we can use it for adaptive control automatically. So that we have to be very careful. So now, so the same thing, there is a basic, like the turning process, manufacturing process is a turning here, so on. Some signal will come, then we'll have to extract the features, and then based on that we have to do some decision making, which is AI/ML based, and then based on that some we have to find out which are faulty, which are normal and all, and that is the way it works actually. Okay, so and then we have to put it to control system, and then it works. So this is general structure. It's very this thing simple to make it this thing, but once we are looking into specific processes, and we are looking into a type of if you want to monitor, if you want to predict the type of wear or something, or some tool life, or if you want to surface process quality like surface roughness or sort of thing, this is very difficult, challenging to prove that actually and validate it works in all conditions. So now I will just take one example which CMT we have tried to do. And of course, it is one of that. So let us see. This is we try to use we try to predict the surface roughness in diamond turning process. Yeah. So what we did, I think we did some design of experiment and all, so that that I will not go deep into that. So basically, we had a machine, a diamond turning machine, our intelligent ultra precision turning machine. So we have some workpiece of some this thing. We have fixed the workpiece size for that way, and then some targeted surface finish. We are planning 10 nanometers and all, and the speed range of the machine is 50 to 7,000 RPM, and the load capacity. These are the basic specification of machine. Then we have selected, to do it for a particular type of shape, which is flat, and material is aluminum 6061 T6, the optical grade aluminum. So we try to develop the this thing, that module for predicting the surface finish. Okay. So tool also we fixed, a particular tool is monocrystalline diamond tool with 0 rake angle and the nose radius of 3. That is based on some literature and all. This thing we did, and then we started we started measuring the vibration, in 3 directions. Okay, X, Y, Z direction. We started measuring the vibration, and the vibration we were monitoring from the tool side, not from spindle side. So tool side we were monitoring the vibration in X, Y, Z direction. So there's a way, and then finally surface reference measurement. We started doing, based on design of experiment, number of experiments we have done, and the surface roughness measurement was done using our optical profiler, what we have at CMTI. So let us see what is the input and what is the output. So that let's see. So if you see into the independent variable for getting into this is the cutting speed, like speed, feed, and depth of cut, and also the vibrations, also which we are measuring into X tangential cutting force and feed direction and thrust force. All those things. Thrust direction. That is Vx, all vibration only. So it is a tangential in tangential direction, in feed direction, and in thrust cutting force direction. There is a Vx, Va, Y, Z. So these 3 and plus these 3. So this we had, and of course finally we are getting a component and surface finish. So this information we have tried to use and try to predict the surface roughness using 2 methods. One is the multiple regression analysis. Another one is the artificial neural network based module. So if you look into that the blue one is the real. After that validation, we have after that implementing this into our machine, we did some 25 experiment further, and in that we try to see what we are measuring and what we are predicting. We try to predict using 2 techniques. So that is using regression analysis and also ANN. So we found that this that ANN based module was giving slightly better fit to the the measured one. So the error was in terms of around I think around plus minus 6%, where that in case of MRI it was plus minus some I think 12%. So that's the way that the goodness of it was there. So reasonably it gave some some good indication that it is possible. So it is one of, but it is again I told you it is for one particular shape. So if the shape is changing and the cutting tool is changing, then and material is changing, then we have again challenges. So we are still working out how to make a some sort of robust model for diamond turning itself. So then comes the turning of other processes. So it is quite challenging. So that's why we are finding it that to make a sort of universal model for turning alone, it is a big challenge, considering the type of tool, material, machine, and other parameters. So now this is the regarding our experience regarding that prediction. But if you have a specific job, a specific cutting tool and all, then we can specific, then we can do it. Means that way. If you are changing the job shape and tool and all, it's much more difficult. So that for that we are still working on that. Okay. Now coming to tool condition monitoring. So that is slightly comparatively easier than the process prediction. So tool condition monitoring we can do. I think we have tried to do using cutting forces in CMTI, as well as also using the vibrations. So whatever is that, we have signal, we are taking raw signals while cutting. Process is going on. It could be force, or it could be vibration, or could be acoustic emission. And then we are doing some signal processing and then some data processing for the feature extractions and all. Then some training of the this thing, machine learning and training of the modules, which is AI based. And then finally the result. That is the way we are doing the tool condition monitoring. So there also, we have try to do something based on again vibration, this force actually. This is this thing what I am showing is a force. So with this we are able to basically using this area also we used a neural network actually and tried to do that. So we had some inputs like cutting speed, feed rate, depth of cut, and then also that cutting forces also we were monitoring, and the output was of flank wear of the tool, of the turning tool. So that was that, and then we did some sort of like training, neural networks training, and then we could predict the tool wear. So it is able to give us the we try to quantify the wear also, and also qualitatively with the life we wanted to connect that whether the life is remaining and all, and also with some remarks. So this module also we developed a CMTI for tool condition monitoring, but particularly in ultra precision turning operations. So that is the way we have done in CMTI. Now coming to that, that what benefit we are getting if suppose we have a smart machine tools and intelligent machining. So then in that case we can change, we can increase, we can get a higher efficiency and productivity. So obviously, so we'll get more accurate component, and and also we can reduce the downtime, because we are able to do diagnostics, we are able to monitor the losses we call overall equipment effectiveness, OEE, and that OEE losses. Why this OEE is lesser, so that we have done some work which I will be telling you last actually. So if you're getting into that with analysis of OEE losses, that we can find out the regions why it is where is the scope where there is improvement and all. So it is not whatever modules we have developed at CMTI for overall equipment effectiveness. We have also looked into the micro analysis of those, and particularly for metal cutting, and also to find out why the losses are occurring. So anyhow, I think that OE and all is connected with quality as well as also. So we looked into all the aspects and we try to do a few things. Then the second thing is that machine accuracy. So there I think we are that is a play where we are well connected with OE machine tool OEMs. So our aim is that why not to make machine tool also more accurate using this techniques actually. So with using sensors and real-time feedbacks and like that we have done that machine error compensation and techniques and all we develop, and machine itself is accurate. Then it comes to improvement in part accuracy using intelligent machining. So that also we have been working continuously both. So if machine is accurate as well as the process is intelligent, you can get more accurate component. And also if you have on machine metrology, then it is also better. Also we are looking into when we are looking into smart machine tools and all, we are looking into the reliability. Machine, how the machine is reliable. So we are also working on many modules which are trying to predict and also gives some information for proactive actions. And also we are also looking into using the IoT and all, and using smart factory, the ease in operations. So that also we are addressing. So when we are looking into smart machine tools, we are looking into that aspect also. So now let us see that our smart factory which are coming at the CMTI, where we are having all type of machines. So you can see the job is coming and then it is getting checked with RFID tag, and then based on that the information, it is which program has to run on which machine, it is identifying, and then the AGV is there, robots are there which are loading these components on different machines, and the operations will take place based on the part tag, and then it is going for the metrology. Metrology is going to be either on machine or even off some parameters, on some parameters of this thing. And if everything is good, then machine is that component is ready for that uses. So that is the way we are looking into that. So this is a very simple way of looking into smart factory. So that the part comes, the parts gets tagged, gets identified, and then accordingly that CAD CAM, that CAM, programs are decided, and which processes has to occur on which machine it is decided, and accordingly the movements using automatic movements using AGV and robots will take place. Parts will get loaded, unloaded, and then goes to next operation, all like that. So this is the physical thing what people can visualize. Also, this we have sort of like a master controller with CAD CAM and digital twin and all based sort of things which are there part of like that in the smart factory. But behind the scene, lot of things are happening. So if you see that this all in, you see the line green, red, and all. So the machines are well connected to each other. The informations are flowing from machine using wired networks and all. Also, some of the informations are flowing through wireless networks also, because some sensors and all which can transmit through wireless directly using some wireless protocols and all. Then that also information we are taking into our server actually. So that is the way we are looking into. So they are well connected to each other, and then also the programs and other things are loaded through our CAM sort of thing, and it's getting here. And also the sensors are all the sensors either through CNC or through external sensor through either through wired or wireless informations are flowing back to IoT server and all, and then for there we are doing monitoring the conditions and doing some decisions and all. So that's the way we are doing that. Apart from that, I was mentioning that that entire thing we are putting on digital twin, means all the machines and every asset whatever we have in this, they have their digital twin also, which is in virtual mode, and that means we have a virtual factory also, and that informations they are going to the digital twin part also. And then we are with this we are looking into even manufacturing digital twin, and we can do some analysis, we can do some learning from these physical things and going to digital mode and all. And also performance digital twin also we can, means using the digital twin we can predict what is going to happen in these machines performance and all. So that's the way we have been working. So it is not like just like a connected smart factory. It is also we are trying to have digital twin also. This is basically cyber physical, both smart factory we are trying to put at our center. So that is the way we are looking into that. Now some of the things, see some of the work CMTI has done. It is available on CMTI IIoT.online. So if you click, you can see a lot of things here. It is it is basically some of the modules which are, it is basically for for academic interest as well as for some demonstratable we have put. But however, some modules everything is not there, but some basic things we have kept there for people to see, look into that how it works. So this is there. So some of the things what we have done is that we have developed some that converting technology for legacy machine to smart machine. So that module is there in this. And then we have energy monitoring solution for MSME we have done. So we have done, we have come out with some low cost energy monitoring, which is IoT based solution for small scale industry. So what we have done there, we have the hardware also we have developed. So this energy monitoring using some low cost sensor and electronics development at CMTI, we are able to provide some solutions which are in few thousands rupees people can have for their machines. So that is why we are looking into that. So this is both hardware and software and dashboard development, which is IoT this thing best we have done in this process. So that's there. So now also we have a CNC machine, that how to connect to the IoT server and machine to machine connectivity of different type of CNC machine we have done. So different type of protocols using OPC UA or some other things we are trying. So this how to this connectivity issue, machine to machine connectivity issue, we are trying to address by different ways and means actually. So also this process monitoring module we have developed. One basic module is there in IoT online, is based on again power monitoring, torque monitoring and power monitoring. We have done something. So I was also mentioning that overall equipment efficiency or effectiveness, that we have developed a module. Our module is slightly unique in the sense because we have done some OE losses if you open our module, we will find that how this OE, that what is contributing to this OE losses, and micro analysis of that, and then so that users can try to look into improvements and all. As a part of sponsored work, we have been actually we have taken a project where the Smart Foundry, we have is a basically industry, you can say 2 or 3 type of machine, Smart Foundry machine, and there we are trying to, what we have done, that we wanted to make it IoT this thing. So there are many machines in a Smart Foundry, and then we try to create a unified control panel which is IoT enabled. And this from where we can tap the information from industry 2 and industry 3 type of foundry machines, and we can and take this information and try to put to cloud-based server. So that is the way we have done that one work. So that way to show that our this thing, and it is basically sponsored work we have done. So CMTA also as a part of this thing, our people, they have worked on AI based, edge AI based smart attendance monitoring system, which is looking into your face recognition, actually using AI techniques, as well as skin temperature, and also it is proximity. The sensors also there in that. So with that, we are able to give you we are able to come out with a solution which can do attendance in this COVID situation and all. And we can based on face recognition, as also it can also look into that COVID compliant norms and all, whether the temperature and all is okay or not. So that is the way we have done. And now we have been working, I think Ajay mentioned that for manufacturing and performance digital twin we have been working. And also we are working now, we are coming out with a solution, comprehensive condition monitoring module for rotating equipments. So there we are going to monitor the vibration, temperature, and energy, all 3 together, and which is basically going to be edge analytic based, because we're taking a lot of information, high sampling rate information to cloud, and then doing cloud based analysis are not found to be quite good. So we are trying to get particularly when we are looking into vibration based or acoustic emission based condition monitoring, then we have to go for edge analytics based only, so that only processed information will go to cloud, not the raw information. So that's the way we have been working, and we are coming out with hardware. So that the hardware being developed, so that with that we feel that it will be very helpful for MSME. So this is actually is already prototyping is done, and we are making some trial. So this is all about my presentation today, and if I am open for the questions, and thank you for patient listening, and I am ready for some more questions regarding that my talk, or in general anything about smart manufacturing industry 4.0.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. It was really a wonderful presentation. So a couple of questions are there. The first one is there any perceptible progress in making the surface engineering process, for example, plasma coating, more intelligent and more accurate?
Yeah, sir, I think, yeah, so definitely, actually, we have been, if you look into that processes, plasma coating and all, I think there also it is required, very much required, and I think much more required if you look into those processes. So basically CMTI as such, CMTI, as you know that our background is in machine tool. So, and we developed machine tools, and we have been working for machine tool OEMs for quite a long time since our inception. Most of the machine tool guys in that OEMs in our country, they are somehow connected to CMTI. So that way whatever we are focusing on basically, sir, on machine tool based solution. But as such, for that coating equipment and all, invariably, I think if you look into any type of coating, those are required. And but at this moment, we are not working on that. But if some people are interested, we can work with them actually, sir. So that way, so it is required, very much required for those processes, and also some advanced manufacturing processes, which is based on, I think, if you look into additive manufacturing only, sir. If you look into that, laser-based or E-beam-based processes which are used for additive manufacturing, they are also much more required, sir. This techniques actually, the process and this thing. So that way, and also other type of non-conventional manufacturing processes very much required. Coating and also it is required, sir, because we also have some coating processes and various parameters are there, sir. So I think very much necessary. But we are not actually, unfortunately, sir. There's no OEMs working in this area. I think there are very few people. I think there are few people who are working in this coating equipment and all. And if they work with, they like to come forward, then we'll definitely will like to work for those people also.
Yeah. The next question is there a possibility that your experience can be translated to more difficult task of tunnel boring, which often break down due to the ground condition and many times due to tool failure?
You are talking of tunnel boring, no, sir? Tunnel boring. I think that
Yeah,
is
yes, sir.
yeah. So yeah, so that, sir, I think these techniques, if you look into like this, some of things like vibration based or some sort of thing and all, that can be used actually. This for that other It's not like that only for metal cutting and all. It can be used for um, mm, other like boring, tunnel boring and all. But same time. We require to have some domain expert in that area also, particularly those geological or civil and all. So I think we have come across some issues. But when it comes for coming from machine point of view, if you take a tunnel boring machine also, it can be easily, we can easily implement there. So some techniques, even for people are using condition monitoring for bridges and all sort of thing, bridge sort of like that also we are doing. Tunnel boring machine also we can do monitoring and we can do that. But the only thing is the process part when it comes to tunnel boring, that when it is doing that, boring of this um, earth and which is filled with earth and rock and different combination, there only the domain knowledge is required from the people who are in that area. But as such, machine monitoring is very well possible. And if this threshold levels are fixed with the working with domain expert, then this IoT should not be a problem. I think it can be easily done, sir.
Yeah. The next question is any specific work carried out on new CNC fixtures?
Yeah, sir. Yeah. So that is one area, sir. We have not put. That is the area where we are trying to work now. I think there's a fixturing both in this thing for CNC all metal cutting machine. We are trying to. Not much work has been done by CMTA, but we are trying to. We are talking with some OEMs and some people who are interested in fixtures. This thing. Also, not only fixtures that for holding job, also we are looking into tool holders also. We are trying to work, we are in touch with some of the OEMs that so as such this two things that is work from CMTA point of view, I'm just telling, because I'm not commenting on the other works done at other places, but the CMTA point of view, we wanted definitely part of metal cutting machines, the work fixtures we wanted to make it smart, and also the tool holders also we wanted to make them smart. A tool holder itself, and that too also we were looking forward to make it something like using for milling and all. No, we have to use wireless techniques only, so that, and then it should be somehow we should be able to see that it is battery operated, that transmitter which is mounted on tool holder. So it's on proposal stage only, sir. So still I think not much work has been done by CMTI in those two aspects, sir. Yeah.
Next question. As we move towards intelligent manufacturing,
Yes,
is
sir.
the lack of indigenous CNC controllers going to be a bottleneck, or is the deficiency compensated by intelligent manufacturing? That is, can the connected machines help one another in controlling themselves?
Sir, I think if you look it from technology point of view, that not having Indian controller is not an issue, because these guys that multinationals are very intelligent, and they look into market. So they are initially few years back, you will not find controllers with open architecture. But now these guys, I think they are making it open. Also, and they're also making they're giving you a provision also that you can take their services. In fact, they themselves, they are working in the IoT area like Fanuc, Siemens and all. So that is there. So that is not an issue. I think now they are getting open. So that is not a technical challenge basically. But the basic problem why we are looking to for Indian, that machine tool, CNC controllers and all, or any CNC controller for it could be used for other machines also, is that the huge amount of this thing imports actually. So our parent ministry DHI is that is having a focus on development of indigenous controller, multi-axis, so that it is from point of view of import substitution and huge import actually, sir. That point of view. But as such, coming to smart implementation, not a big issue actually. So is there only thing is that the advantage with if we could have been having Indian OEMs, then they are I think much more I think many more modules can be thought. So even what is happening with these OEMs which are based abroad, they are opening to the extent where they feel. So if I think the question was that whether it is intelligent machine. So making a machine smart, machine tool smart from diagnostic point of view or some live prediction, I think still they are open. I think that's not issue. But coming to the process related thing, I think it is definitely if Indian controllers are available, and then we are able to work. Definitely, we can work better with Indian controllers actually. So particularly for intelligent machinings, because that not very sure whether this intelligent machining aspect, whether this OEMs they themselves they are working also, like Fanuc, Siemens, they are having tied up with many people and then doing it actually. In fact, Siemens is one project we are doing with CMT also. So I just want to tell you. So they are also coming up, but for Indian what you call research, this Korea, it could have been easier if it could have been that intelligent machining, if to develop module for intelligent machining, if Indian OEMs could have been there. That is true, sir.
Yeah, that's it, sir. We don't have any more questions. Yeah.
So, if no questions, I like to thank the organizers and all the participants for patient listening, and organizers for allowing, giving us opportunity.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is Keshva, an MTech student from Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, in project we are planning to make a milling machine to a smart machine.
Yeah, definitely. Your milling machine is a conventional milling machine, right?
No, sir, it is an obsolete the 20 years old CNC bench milling machine.
CNC machine. Okay. I think people are also looking into even normal CNC machine, which is semi-automatic, no? That also people are looking. Yeah. So your is a CNC machine, am I right? Old, very old.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
very
sir,
much.
Yes,
Yeah. Tell me.
In that, do we get some guidance from you for converting it into?
Yeah, why not? Why you can always connect it. So we are actually we want this technology. See, part of our that is Smart Udyog, no? We are propagating also, so no problem. So where there, this not like IP issues are there. You can definitely we can help you, right? Everything is not IP protected, or need not be, because they are in domain. It is only that you may not be knowing, but those informations are available. So those information we can definitely provide you, no problem. Okay.
Sir,
right?
Can I get your guidance regarding this? Can I contact you?
You can contact me. I think my mail ID was there in beginning only, but at the end also, I think you can through IEEE, or otherwise also through Samarth Udyog you can visit, or you can go to CMTI website, cmti.res.in. There also you can find me. I think it is there in the slide. You can see at the bottom, www.cmti.res.in. You can get that information.
Can you get contact details?
Contact details, you can get, everything is there. You just click there, you will find my name. All details are there. You won't find any problem there, I can tell you. Okay.
And one more thing, sir. Are we free to visit your to see this the case
Smart
studies?
Factory. Yeah, Smart Factory. We are definitely. It is our duty to once it is operational, we'll see that everybody sees. So there's no problem. But Now it is, I think, because of COVID and all, I think some delays there and some norms also there. So it is, we are expecting that by December, things will become normal and our smart factory will be ready. You can visit. Okay, if you visit and somewhere after December, you can see many things happening. Many things working. Yeah.
If possible, can we see some videos of your that smart machines?
Yeah, that's why I put no that smart machines and videos. Okay.
We had
So
seen the details in the case studies presentation.
So I can
Uh,
see some. If you want to see our work, no, like then there is a that I gave a link, no. I think you see www.cmti.iot.online. You know, you go there, you will get information, some information, which are basically we put for academia only, so that they also see that way. It is not there's no IP problem there. Okay, you can, all informations are free. I can freeware sort of thing. Yeah.
okay, thank you, sir. Thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we would like to tell you that our aim, the Samarth Udyog, that aim is to propagate this technology. More and more people should work. If you are doing something on your own, you are welcome. No problem. Okay. Right then. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, sir, for
Yes.
your valuable time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, it was privilege, and I am honored actually. And this subject, I think, as I mentioned earlier, that we are conducting many programs through Samarth Udyog as well as through that our SMDDC, and so I think I'm deeply honored and to give a lecture on this platform, this prestigious ISSS platform. So thank you all the organizers and committee members again. And I like to thank all the participants again to given us for their patient listening and for their interactions. Every interaction, I will be learning something. So today, I came to know that people are interested in making this coating process is also smart, and this is very much required actually. If somebody is developing some equipment and all in our country, there are a few people who are developing the equipment. So we'll have to definitely look into those aspects also. So it is always learning as and when we conduct any program in this area.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So before summarizing, the next masterclass lecture will be on June 21st at same time 10 a.m. The title of the talk is Smart Grid Technologies, which will be given by Sri Kaliyappan Perumal from CPRI. So all of you stay tuned. Let's join again on 21st June. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Dr.
all.
Prakash Vinod, for a very nice master class lecture. And thanks for Sunil for organizing all this. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you all. And good day and have a nice time.